All right, folks, I'm here with Jackie Schlegel with Texas for Vaccine Choice. However, I have seen you testify on some other things this weekend.
Are we going to talk about that too?
You can talk about anything.
It's really hard when you're
about.
Incredibly passionate and you have a lot of life stories to back up your passions. You just got to stand up and get to the mic and, stand for everything you can.
What was your goal when you gave up, knowing that you were going to come to Houston of all places? Where are you from? Where do you live?
So I'm up in North Texas.
All right.
Divide my time between North Texas and Central Texas because I do a lot of work in Austin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
voluntarily coming to Houston in July. You have to really, really be motivated.
The struggle with the hair is real. It's a real struggle. It's been a very interesting trip for us because we've been planning this for a really long time. This is our convention season. This is our time to get the boots on the ground. And especially at the Republican convention, we gain a lot of momentum, a lot of new supporters that can launch us with great momentum into the legislative session. We had 9 conferences that we were going to go to, and one by one they started to cave, they started to fold, they started to cancel. And we actually had formed a coalition for the Republican Party convention here that was really tackling family freedom issues to really be a voice for the vulnerable families here, because we feel very strongly that we need to come together to fight with other organizations that are really on the front lines of family freedom. So we've actually been planning this convention for over a year. I know. And then with 4 days notice. Yes.
It's been sickening for everybody.
In the last 6 months, we slowly started to dwindle back our plans, and we went from a mega booth, and we went from organizations saying, well, we're not going to be able to be there, and Team Texans for Vaccine Choice made a commitment. We're going. Yeah. We're going if we show up to locked doors. We're going if we got to put a booth on the road.
Yeah, that was my attitude.
But this means too much to Texas families. And we kind of have this motto of like one conversation at a time. Everybody can do something, even if it's one conversation at a time. And so we did get here to lock convention doors. We had severely altered our booth that we were going to bring with us.
You basically got a card table. It's like the kids' table at the family reunion.
How great was it to see these organizations line up and say, you know what, we're going to make the best out of this situation. And we put up our banners and we had our table, and it's been a slow trickle of people, but the community and the spirit is that of Texas, of like the small and mighty group is here. We're on the front lines when the legislators cower, when our elected officials cower, when our governor turns on us. We are going to show up and fight for Texas because that's what we do. And so even though it's a completely different atmosphere than we have really hoped for, we really wanted, we're proud of the work that's been done here this week.
And I'm learning that you hear that saying, the government goes to those who show up. I think this pre-convention convention goes to those who show up.
Absolutely.
And I think there's going to be a lot of people who decided to do it virtually who are going to be really upset.
Yeah.
Because we are really, and of course nobody is hearing this or anything, but we're getting a little bit more than those who are attending virtually. We're getting a lot more time. And a lot more in front of the committees.
Yeah.
So
and the dads have absolutely rocked it. I know
the dads. I know that's not even their official name, is it?
We lovingly refer to them as the dads.
They will always
be the dads.
Do they know about the moms?
Not
the
only
moms
do they
carry
know
around the wooden spoons. And I don't know what the dads would carry around, but I just don't think
you
walking
know what
with a belt in the hall, that I don't think that would work.
They carry around our stuff. They have been so useful to us this week. They've been amazing. We're downstairs. We're having a blast. We're helping each other out. Yes, it is kind of funny though, because even though they're not all dads, we lovingly refer to them as the dads. And they lovingly refer to us as the girls or the moms.
The girls.
But we've come together because we have this overwhelming love for our children. We have this overwhelming, just we understand that this is our God-given right to raise our children the way we see fit. So whether we're talking about schools, education, health choices, we all respect that these, choices, these, things that we wrestle with as parents of what's best for our children is best left to us and not the government.
Absolutely.
And just being here and just sharing in that spirit, it's amazing. It's incredible.
It is. And so let's get back, make sure we mention Texans for vaccine choice. Do you think you're going to get priorities? I know you've had something in the platform.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you changing it, strengthening it?
You know what? We are strengthening the
Okay.
language in the platform.
Okay.
So the entire goal of being here was to really push for informed consent. Okay? Which really, when we made this decision, we really didn't even realize this was pre-COVID before we were going to have a governor that had executive orders that was going to mandate a, medical preventative or whatever you want to call it, without your explicit informed consent. I mean, you might think it's just a mask, but the way we look at it is, this is really a medical decision. How do you best protect yourself and your family?
Absolutely.
So we were looking through it as the lens of informed consent in regards to vaccination. We believe that as the individual, as the parent, you have the right to know the risk and the benefits of medical procedures. And so we were seeking to strengthen that platform. We had very good results doing that in our precinct conventions and our Senate district conventions. And then, of course, we were successful here in the subcommittee. I hope I'm not missing my committee right now.
Well, listen, that's more important
than
this.
I've got Becca down there.
All right, you got somebody?
She's holding down the fort down there. But to make sure we're confident that that's not going to change. Republicans really stand strong on this issue.
Good.
But when I got here, the big shift that we really started to have, that I realized on the general, broader, issue of healthcare, I was deeply convicted yesterday sitting in the legislative priorities hearing that while we had great components that were touching on medical freedom, nobody was really just paving the way, plowing through with strong language as the Republican Party that we are going to stand for personal responsibility in healthcare. So yesterday I got up and I made a passionate plea to the committee. We touched on the vaccine choice, but I asked them to really look at the broader picture. And it really circles back to what, in my opinion, is a bigger issue. The left, the radicals, have hijacked the conversation around healthcare. As Republicans, we are absolutely terrified to be called anti-vaxxers, science deniers.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We're not smart enough. Our doctors are quacks. They're whatever. And we have been allowed them to send us into the corner like children, afraid of what they are going to do. And my plea to the Legislative Priorities Committee was, let's figure out how we can take this broader issue of, health freedom, personal responsibility, limiting the government's overreach into our health choice, and get it into a legislative priority. I felt a little guilty, honestly, initially, because it's not that it wasn't on my radar. It was, but we felt like we typically have bigger fish to fry. And the other part of that was, like many of grassroots activists, I felt jaded. Like, what does it matter? We're going to make this a priority. No one's going to care. We walked those Capitol halls last legislative session.
Oh, I know.
Alone.
Don't get me started.
Alone.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah.
And it's very easy to become jaded by that and just say, why does anybody care? But I care.
Yes.
I care because the future of America is dependent on a healthy population.
And a healthy family.
And that starts with us, yes, in a healthy family, but that starts with us taking back our control.
Yes.
You know, we are the party of personal responsibility, and I am not
You would
ashamed
think.
of that.
That's right.
I
That's
am
right.
not ashamed of that.
You have 3 kids, is that
I
right?
do.
You have 3 kids,
I do.
one with disabilities?
I do, yes, sir.
And you gave a moving testimony yesterday.
Yeah.
And the thing that actually talked about this on my radio program this morning, I told your story. It read right into my scripture today, which was Romans 1:16, which is, do not be ashamed. I'm not ashamed. And you prayed during your testimony yesterday, didn't you? And that first of all, I just kind of went, what? She's praying. And then I look around and everybody up there in the committee kind of had their head bowed. I haven't ever seen anything like that.
So, you know, for me, I have a pretty radical, compelling story. Okay, I was on a very different path numerous years ago, and my life did a complete turnaround, and it's because of my faith and trust in Jesus. Period. I am everything that I am today. I'm able to be a single parent of 3 teenagers, including one with disabilities, because of my faith in Christ. And I think just like the legislative, priorities and the legislators, it's very easy to just become, I don't know if stagnant or just that's just a little bit of a part of us. We don't talk anymore. We don't boldly, profess it.
Right.
But I feel deeply convicted, and that's one of the reasons I got up and testified for the dads as well.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the right thing to do.
It is.
It's not popular sometimes. It doesn't feel good to get up to a committee of strangers and share your personal struggles and your personal journey and your heartache, and knowing that it's going to be live streamed on the world. I mean, even on Twitter last night, people were going at me at how stupid it was that, I was advocating for the equal parenting as a single woman. But I don't care. I truly, this is about standing up boldly for truth. And maybe I think it's something we should expect. And if we're not getting that criticism, then we're probably not standing for the right things.
I'd have to agree with you on
And
that.
so even with the vaccine choice issue, I would get some emails and people say, well, you seem pretty religious. And I just say, we are a nonpartisan organization. We're not a religious organization, but I absolutely will not deny the one who has redeemed my family, who has saved my soul. And it's okay if you don't believe that. You are welcome in this movement, but I'm going to stand up for truth regardless of what they say.
So I have one more question for you, and I know this is so funny. When I interviewed you on the radio a while back, I went to Facebook to find your Facebook site. And I put in Texans for Vaccine Choice. And because that's the name of your Facebook site, Texans for Vaccine Choice, word for word, right?
Yeah.
And so I put that in, so it should pop up at the top of the list. And it didn't. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I got something wrong. Maybe I misspelled vaccine or Texans or something. And then I started scrolling, and it had all these other vaccine,
World Health Organization, CDC,
pro-vaccine, CDC, all these pages showed up, and then it wasn't until I got to the second page where it said Texans for Vaccine Choice, and it's like, well, mathematically that should have been at the top.
Yes.
And it wasn't. So you told me a trick. Put in Texans for Choice.
For choice. But
Texans for Choice.
So very quick on that, I wanted to make a fun post. I have a pretty good sense of humor, if I might say so myself. But I am a pro-choice feminist post. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
And then I posted pictures with all of my weapons and
Okay.
my guns and my shooting and whatever, throwing axes, and it was just kind of a joke to poke fun at pick your choice. Do you want the 9? Do you want 380? Do you want what is it? But I stand for women, right?
Yes.
I stand for women to choose how to defend yourself and your family. And I hashtagged all of the liberal, speaking points, feminism, girl power.
Yeah.
And the amount of interactions I had on social media, it blew up.
Oh.
And it's because these social media tech companies literally are filtering conservative content.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was kind of a fun experiment. I felt bad because a few people weren't exactly tracking where I was going with posting this, but I wanted to prove a point, and I wanted to prove a point that conservative voices are being suppressed, and vaccine choice is typically a conservative issue. So that is something that we're fighting back again. But you can just put Texan for choice, because choice
That's right.
is
one of the
a
magic
good word to big tech
right.
companies, and we will come straight up to the top. But ultimately, we got to fix that issue in and of itself, which is we are just giving too much power to. There were congressional hearings on this issue where elected officials asked for these restrictions to be placed on individuals like us.
Wow.
So I attended those hearings in DC. Not a conspiracy. I witnessed it. I sat in the room. They asked for these regulations to be handed down. It's going to take years to undo the damage. In the meantime, I hope we can get on board with other platforms. It's tough because everybody loves their social media, loves their Facebook.
I know, and people in my age group, we fought tooth and nail from getting on there and hated it, and then we finally all get on there, and then we find out, oh yeah, they're just burying my opinions.
Yeah.
And so it's been interesting.
And my generation, I believe, really is going to carry a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. I know I've been convicted of this because we sold our children's privacy down the river.
Yeah.
I mean, we all hopped on, we didn't think about it, we put their pictures, we put their life stories, we document their day to day.
Oh yeah.
And at
Poopy
the
diapers,
time,
pictures of other
we didn't even
exactly.
think about the data collection. And one more point on this, as a parent of teenagers, I can tell you they are targeting this information and then using it to craft a narrative to bring our children into the progressive ideology. Is incredibly dangerous. It's a fine line to walk. I know it because I have children on social media, but they're constantly being bombarded with Planned Parenthood ads. My daughter literally got an ad for Planned Parenthood on Instagram that said, if you would like to speak with a healthcare provider, click here.
Wow.
This is targeting our youth. It's dangerous. We've got to fight back against it.
Okay. I think that's a topic for another day. I've had you on the program before, and I want to get you back again sometime, Jackie.
I love it. We could talk all day. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have fun. All right.
That was fun.
Thank you.
Let's go see if I missed my committee.
All right, go.